All right, there it is. Building an IT project management career. Zero fluff, right to the point, so that you can understand the specific steps and how to build this career for yourself. So, first, I want you to sort of know who I am, right? I could go back in my history, but really what I try to do is help career professionals like yourself easily and quickly gain technical knowledge to build confidence and earn a six-figure salary in project management. That's all I ever talk about. So if you want to follow me, you absolutely can on Instagram under I'm MJ Bianchi. I post things all the time, and under 3T Career Institute. So make sure that you connect with me beyond this webinar. And I am also super excited to introduce to you one of my favorite people, Dunya. I've known Dunya for probably 3 years, maybe now. And one thing I can tell you about Dunya, aside from her biography here, is that she is someone who knows what she wants and she's going to go for it. And you know what? And she will come and ask for help, but she knows what she wants. And that's my experience with her. She wanted to get the PMP. She wanted to be in IT, and she did it. And I saw her do it in a short period of time where she was so focused. So yes, you're seeing her credentials here, but man, her drive is what got me to bring her on as a speaker. So Dunya, welcome. Do you have anything else to add?
No, that was very sweet. Yes, thank you, thank you. And I've learned a lot from you. And honestly, I wouldn't be here without your help. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And I'm happy that I can bring you back as a guest. And that can be maybe some of you here who have accomplished something and you want to be a guest, let me know. I would love to have you on here. So I may have mentioned this already, but you can also follow Dunya on LinkedIn. So you can find her under Dunya Barakzai. You all know where to find me. We talked about that. So what are we focusing on here? We are going to focus on defining IT project management, right? How many of you, and you can put in the chat box, are sort of like, you know what IT project management is, but you don't really know because it really is like this big ocean, right? And it's like an ecosystem of its own. So we're really going to define what is IT project management. The next thing is giving you the actual steps to building an IT project management career, right? And so you probably have heard or Googled it yourself or watched some YouTubes, but what you're going to hear in this webinar is probably so concrete and so firm that hopefully out of this webinar, you're going to walk away saying, yes, this is for me, or no, I don't even think I want to dive into this world of IT project management. So before I define it, though, go ahead and put in the chat box, what do you think is IT project management? What comes to mind when you think about being on an IT project? What comes to your mind, right? Put in the chat box so that I can see what you're thinking. But here it is, right? What is IT project management? IT project management is the process of managing, planning, developing information technology projects. And guess what? It exists in so many different industries. There's software development, there's information technology, there's information systems, communications, hardware, networking, databases, mobile apps. Okay, well, that's all IT, right? And here's the other cool thing. It exists in every single industry you can think of. Marketing, healthcare, government, education, retail, telecom, food and drug. It doesn't matter. Name any industry you want. It does not matter. IT is there, and IT project management exists, and IT project managers are in demand. So I'm seeing all of your chats. This is awesome. Keep it going. So then what is IT project management, right? 3 specific bullets here that I've put down. You're developing maybe a new software. You're implementing a pre-built software, also known as COTS, COTS, and that's commercial over-the-counter products. You could also be on IT projects where you are upgrading a software or hardware, right? And this is all IT project management. So I know I have an existing poll right now. Just make sure you complete that and let me know, do you currently work on IT projects? And when you look at these IT projects here, does that resonate to you? So on the next slide, we're going to dive into getting all of the real info from Dunya. So here's our expert feedback and our first question to you, Dunya. What kind of IT projects do you work on or have you worked on, if you can please share?
Yes, no, really good question. So on that previous slide, honestly, I've probably done at least one project in every area. So I've done system upgrades. We did from kind of like a Windows 7 to Windows 10 upgrade. So that was interesting. I've done implementations of systems or COD systems, as you mentioned. It was an HR platform for the benefits team. It's a completely different team that I was working with, but still a technical implementation. So it was an IT project. And I've also done process improvements where somebody wanted to do a workflow easier or a process that would be automated that they're doing manually. So understanding their processes and doing that type of an IT project. So all over the place. It's really cool to see the complexity that an like IT project can have and the different groups you would be interacting with and learning a lot about. It's not like you're only working with the IT department or only doing upgrades or help desk type of projects. You can expand and work with different areas of the business and help them improve.
I love that. So essentially what you said is you've helped upgrade a system, you've helped improve processes, you've helped essentially make a business better through IT project management.
Exactly. And often IT is looked at as the department that spends a lot of money. So it's also a lot of fun to let us spend money on the new software, but then also let that department see the benefits of working with IT and doing these upgrades and seeing that return on their investment in a different way.
Yeah, I love that. And so, how did you get into this field? I mean, IT project management is so specific. And I was looking at your education, and you do have some science degrees. You have your bachelor's degree in science, and you have a PMP certification. Now, when you were in college and getting educated and all of that, did you know you were going to be in IT project management? How did that all come together for you?
Yeah, no, it makes me want to laugh because when I think back, I really did not think about IT project management at all when I started college. So after high school, I knew I wanted to do something in the realm of business and get a degree in business administration. That was like my starting point. From there, I started to learn more about what that really meant and what I really wanted to do. And I started to learn that IT project management was even a thing. I was like, okay, this is still under the umbrella of the business degree at the school. Every school was a little different, but that's how I even got introduced to it because it happened to be under my the School of Business. So I saw that George Mason had the Information Systems and Operational Management degree. And that's when I saw that the coursework, there was some project management classes, more things around project management. And I started to look into it a lot more because if I'm being honest, I really didn't want to do coding. That was me, at least. I didn't want to learn an intense coding language or, work behind the desk and be in a cubicle all day. I really did want to interact with folks. And that business aspect of it is really what attracted me. And understanding technology and business and bringing those two together was really beneficial. And it was a really great degree program that they had that really merged those two and helped me understand that, IT helps the business. We're not just, coding in the back of a screen. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Looking back and where you are today, do you think that your degree, your bachelor's degree, was necessary to get you where you are today in your career?
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot. And For me personally, I think it did, but I have seen a lot of other folks I've come across where they don't have a college degree, but they have their PMP and they've have the work experience to back that up, and it has brought them to the same point that I am, and or even surpassed me. And I don't think that it necessarily holds you back. I think what it did for me is it did provide a lot of structure and a lot of things that I learned in college that I probably wouldn't have on my own. And because I am a little, I guess, younger than the workforce, when I did get into it, having education versus the years of experience helped me. So I think you can definitely do it without going to school, because there's a lot of certifications out there. There's a lot of companies now that also are not requiring that college degree. And you can have that cert and experience of internships and other experiences that can really put you at the same level or higher.
Thank you for sharing that. And that takes us to our next slide. What do IT project managers or those working on IT projects do? And Dunya covered this, and I wanted to hone in on it a little bit more. One, you're focusing on a delivery strategy. What that means, simply put, is what process are you going to use to upgrade the organization system, to bring in a new software, to implement a new software, or to develop new software, right? What is your process? What is your delivery strategy? How are you going to initiate your project, plan your project, execute it, monitor, control it, and close it? So you have to understand the step-by-step strategy of how projects are delivered. And this is not a new concept. If we look back at the history of project management, it existed and it began really this IT part of project management in the early 1950s, during the time where, right after World War II, or sort of like, at the beginning, at the end of World War II, you had this need for engineering and you had a need for technology. So with that came a new way of delivering products, services, and results in a very systematic approach. So you can't skip on that. You have to know the strategy. Secondly, it's focusing on delivering value. Now, our clients, our customers, whether you are in project management as an analyst or a project manager, your clients look to you to say, is this IT project worth my organization's time and money? Like Dunya said, IT projects take a lot of money. So as an IT project management professional, we have to continuously evaluate and say, is this product, service, or result bringing value? Because if it isn't, your organization isn't going to see the value and they'll stop the project. So wouldn't you sort of agree with that? Dunya, what are your thoughts about this?
No, I totally agree. Yeah, I feel like a lot of it is focusing on the value that you deliver, exactly how you have here on the slide, and also being able to translate that to management and tell them like, no, we really do need to do this because of X, Y, and Z. And also getting that team to follow that goal and follow that message and motivate everybody and really show that it's worth it. And a lot of times, it's really easy for us to see why something would be, we need to get this new technology. We know it's a lot better, but the rest of the business may not understand why spending these hundreds of thousands of dollars is really going to be better. But doing that analysis, figuring out what each area of the business and how they're going to benefit from this, is really helpful in understanding that.
Thank you for sharing that. The next thing we want to know is what education knowledge is a must to start working on IT projects. So can you help us understand that? And then maybe even piggyback back on that second question of what were your exact steps in getting into IT project management?
Yeah, so my exact steps, which you don't necessarily have to be exactly, but I did get my associates in business administration. That really set that foundation. Then I went and got my bachelor's degree in information systems and operational management. While I was still in college, I got an internship as an application specialist at an engineering firm. So it was a lot of data entry. I was maintaining and upkeeping our CRM. So from there, I got to be exposed to the other areas of IT and see that what areas could be improved from a completely outside perspective. And I was like, wait, why don't we do things this way? Why do we do things that way? And I started asking a lot of questions. And that's what made some of the other teams, or some of the leaders in the other teams, want to hire me full time as an assistant project manager, kind of like a junior PM. And from there, I started working as an assistant PM alongside some leaders to really understand what the business was doing. It really taught me a lot about what the company, just what they did to run day to day, just their business operations. From there, I learned a lot, and then I started looking into getting my PMP at the same time as when I graduated college. So it was a little after that I started working on projects. I learned you have to have the experience hours. When I learned that, I was like, okay, maybe I need to take a step back. Let me start learning, working on actual projects and managing them. And then when I realized I was getting close to having enough experience, I signed up for MJ's class and I started going from there. And I went to all the classes. I did all the prep exams. And from there, I took the exam. And then that's kind of like how my knowledge was and how I got the education piece of it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That was really important. I think it's important for people to see that you don't get to just take a training class and then get into IT, right? And what we heard was Dunya had, she did internships. And so in your opinion now, and I know now you are a program manager. So in your looking back now, what do you think was that must have for you to succeed as a project manager?
I think the internship is a really good experience and it really does help and gets your foot in the door. So once you have your foot in the door, from there, you use your personality, you use your experience and where you really want to go to get to the position that you really want or that will get you to where you really want. I think that internship really helped. But if I didn't do the internship, I think the next most important thing was working on projects to get those hours to get my PMP. Every person I talk to who's in any professional setting, I tell them to get their PMP, even if they're not a project manager, because I feel like it teaches you so much, even if you're not a PM. And a lot of things are projects and you just don't realize they're projects. But I think everyone should get their PMP. I'm like
Thank
super pro PMP.
Yeah, and I agree, right? When I look at the PMP and I look at the curriculum, it's like a mini master's degree. So yes, I agree with you. And on the next slide, and you all are welcome to take a picture of this. I don't mind at all. But what we did together, we created your 6 steps to starting an IT project management. And as you can see, step 1 is determine if you want to implement a COTS product or build software. What is it that you want to do? Because IT, as you saw on our slide 3 or 4, it's a vast discipline, right? There's a lot you can do on IT projects. Step 2, which you can't really run away from, is learn about the software development lifecycle. Now, you have to get a little technical because if you don't understand how software is developed or how software is implemented or how software is updated, that is going to be knowledge that will be required of you when you go to those interviews. So the software development lifecycle, look it up and learn and understand about that. Third, right, Dunya and I both agree the PMP will teach you a lot of what you're going to be doing step by step on an IT project. Step 4, you can also get your product owner certification. So this means if I'm the owner of a new system upgrade, or if I am the owner of implementing a new software, what does that really mean? How do I drive my team? How do I work with my customers? How do I work with my program manager? How do I get the end result to my customer within schedule, within budget, and the cost that was allocated, and make sure that it's a success, right? And that's what step 4 is going to teach you. Step 5 is creating your project management resume that ties in 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And then while you do that, in step 6, you apply for jobs, you apply for internships, you apply for entry-level positions. Yes, you're going to freak out a little bit, right? And you're going to be like, oh my God, I don't think I'm going to get this job. I don't think I'm going to get this internship. Listen, you're going to lose out by not applying at all. So apply, but as long as you have a resume that says, hey guys, I'm new to this industry, but I have all of this knowledge and I am eager, right? Dunya said your personality is the next best thing you need to have in your back pocket alongside your education and training. So your personality does matter. Take a picture of this. This is the exact steps. If you want to get into IT project management, we've laid it out. Now, this next slide, right? This is what you might be thinking. And Dunya, I'm going to lean on you for this one. Do you think it's important to have the coding knowledge or know how to code on these IT projects you've worked on?
So I think the answer is yes. I think knowledge of coding, for sure. Do you need to know how to write the language per se? I would say not necessarily, depending on what you're working on. But in my experience, and the classes that I took, I have a general understanding and knowledge of how SQL is, how, statistical coding and R code is. I understand how, if I'm looking at a line of code, I can understand what it's trying to get at. Would I know how to fix the issue in the code? No, I rely on my technical subject matter experts to let me know. But knowing the coding and knowing the knowledge around it can really help you understand how long something might actually take. Or maybe knowing that there is a solution to something like, hey, can't we just code it to do this? I don't know what the words would be or where the brackets would go, but can't you code it this way instead of that way? So understanding what the coding is doing can really help you in your projects for sure.
Thank you for sharing that. And guys, this is a really good time to think about the questions you want to ask Dunya. So think about them and then raise your hand. So because we're getting to that Q&A part of our webinar. Thank you for that. And what I've done here for you on this slide is make it even more clear of the qualifications that you need for an ITPM career, right? Like I said, if you were to Google this, it's going to give you a billion pages of here, do this, but none of it is really put for you in steps. And my goal is to always simplify things. So take a picture of this. You can, more than welcome to take a picture of it, and you're going to have this webinar available anyways. But one is having project management knowledge, knowing the software development lifecycle knowledge, having the software implementation lifecycle knowledge. Like Dunya said, knowing basic server SQL system administration knowledge, having excellent communication skills. If you're someone who says, I'm an introvert and I don't like people and I don't like teams, this is not a field you want to get into. Ability to work under stress. If you can't handle stress and it gives you anxiety, this is not your industry because it is a stressful job. Ability to take BS from management and let it slide. This is not a job where you can be confrontational. People are going to tell you, you suck at your job, you don't know what you're doing, that everything you've done is wrong, but you still need to suck that up and say, you know what? I hear that, I'm just going to slide it. Here's what we need to get done. And that is something that you have to be able to have as a characteristic, as a personality, to be able to thrive and make that money in this job. Ability to control your emotions and think technically. Believe it or not, and maybe Dunya can talk about her experience, you're going to have moments where you want to draft an email and curse everyone out. And you're going to have moments where you're going to want to quit, right? But you have to be able to separate your emotions from the technical work that needs to get accomplished. And that's the difference between someone who's successful in this field and people who quit in this field or, are always looking for the next IT project manager and they switch jobs every 6 months. Ability to present data, risks, and issues, which means being able to sort of look back and not fearing to give real information, be able to back that up. Because if there's a risk on your project, you need to have the language so that you can discuss or speak about that risk so that your organization can make the next best decision for the project. For example, what that looks like is if the servers are not upgraded, then we cannot install Windows 11, right? And this means Windows 11 could be a project for 2024. That's a priority, but hey, the servers aren't updated and that's going to take us 6 months. So this really can't be an early 2024 project, right? And so it's just really understanding the connection between things. Then knowing how to use MS Project, Jira, Asana, Monday.com. Here's the thing, they're all really easy platforms to use, but you've got to dive in. You have to do your research so that you can understand what these tools, project management software tools, are all about. And again, put your questions in here. We already answered this question. Do you need a BA or master's degree for an IT project management career? No, not, not necessarily. So for someone who says, I have a bachelor's degree in real estate, can I get into IT? Yes. You don't have a bachelor's degree. You only have a high school degree. Can you get an IT? Yes. I don't have any education. I don't even have a high school degree. Can you get an IT? Yes. So it is a field where anyone from any background, anywhere in the world can get, or any language you speak, can get into this field. You don't need higher education. I almost discourage it, right? If you're thinking about a master's in IT project management, by the time you graduate with that master's program, there's already 10 different softwares and a few different ways of how you can manage a project. So it can be outdated information by the time you graduate. Here's the next big question. Everyone wants to be an IT project management professional, but do you know exactly what you want to do? Excuse me, I can't even talk right now, right? You want to be in IT, but what do you want to do? Right? And so this is a list of things they could possibly get into. Coding, requirements, project analyst, stakeholder management, risk management, procurement management, quality assurance, tech support, help desk are all things that you can be on an IT project. You don't necessarily have to be a project manager. So Dunya, just to touch on this a little bit, can you walk us through your titles from the time you started in IT until, I guess, now?
All right, so let's think about it. So I started as the application specialist intern. Then I was a project management intern. Then I was a assistant project manager. That's what it was, assistant project manager. And then from there, I'm in the position that I am now, which is a program manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those were the different titles I had.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'll tell you guys about my journey. I started as a project coordinator, worked on engineering projects. And then I went to Booz Allen. I was a billing specialist. Then I went to a company, and my title, I worked on IT projects at this point after I left Booz Allen. I worked on, my title was, it was something really weird. It was like, not a meeting facilitator. It was a weird title that made zero sense, but I worked on IT projects. Then I was a program analyst. Then I switched to project analyst. Then I went to a project coordinator. And then I went to an assistant project manager. And then I became, my title was a little bit more specific, IT project manager. Then I went to an enterprise project manager. So the title could be whatever, right? As long as, but the work you're doing may be in IT. So the titles look different for everyone. You sort of have to say, did I work on IT projects? Yes, then you did IT project management. So thank you for that. And now we're getting to our questions and answers. And I think I'm seeing one question from Crystal. Dunya, I think this is a question for you. When you talked about your titles, were they all at the same company?
Good question. So All of the beginning ones that I said were all at the same company. So the two different internships, they were at the same company because I should express interest in a different area. So I went to a different internship. And that was before graduating. And then from there, at the same company, I actually did have project coordinator too. I forgot when you mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah. So I had project coordinator and then assistant IT project manager, all at the same company. And then my program manager title was when I moved companies, when I got a promotion pretty much. And when I transitioned is when I got the program manager title.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Um, when you think back to like where you are today, do you think the PMP sort of helped you get the salary that you wanted and the position that you're in today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I thank
Yeah,
you.
it definitely helped because when you have the PMP in hand, it's a lot easier to then, make those well-deserved demands and be like, okay, I have my PMP now. So remember that salary raise I was asking for a couple months back? Or remember that title that I was talking to you about in your talk to your leaders? And I think it's really important to be super straightforward and upfront with your management and be like, hey, I'm getting my PMP. I would talk about it all the time so they knew it was on their mind and that it was coming. So they would be prepared that I'm going to be asking for a raise now that I have it.
I know. And it's so interesting when you do have the conversation, because if you've built that relationship, they'll give it to you. But if you're just like, you've never had the conversation, they don't know what's going on with you, with your professional development, they're going to be like, I don't know, we'll think about it. So building that relationship, guys, is really, really key. Dunya, I've got another question for you, and maybe this is something we'll have to send Neha later on. But Neha's asking, what are some good sources of getting basic knowledge of coding, including SQL?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I took a college course on it, but I believe that there's a lot more, like way better, more in-depth courses on LinkedIn Learning, I believe. I'm sure MJ, you probably know of a few. I know there's a lot on LinkedIn Learning. And if you have a job currently, your company may have a learning management system or an LMS. I would even search in there. You'd be surprised what is available there for all employees and that you could just take and that's already available to you and you may just not know that it's there.
Yeah, thank you. I think LinkedIn Learning is a really good source. Your company's LMS is a really good source. But I have some SQL classes. I have some Network Plus, A Plus classes. So if you're looking for classes, the important thing is free things could mean they're outdated. Free things could mean that they want to plug you into like their other system. And I don't know, right? You want to make sure you're getting your education from a source that's, it's right from the organization. It comes from the standard, the organization that created the standard. So just an FYI. We've got another question here. Deidre says, I hear so many people say it's not necessary to have a PMP to be a PM. If you are new like myself, I would like to think it would be necessary to work in that arena to get an idea of how projects are worked. Do you suggest doing that as well as taking courses before getting PMP, or only get your PMP first and then get into project management? What do you recommend, Dunya? What do you think?
That's a tough one. I would recommend, I personally, I would probably try to do some of the certifications and maybe get some of that work experience at the same time, if not like try and time it where you're working a little bit and then you start getting your PMP so you can relate it exactly to what you're doing and make it very applicable. And it will make the understanding of what goes on in that arena click a lot better. That's what I would suggest. But what do you suggest, MJ?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think here's what happens when organizations see that you are in a professional development training, or are obtaining a certification. What that says to them is that you seek knowledge, you're disciplined, and that you're really interested in this field. So it sends a message out. So even if you have courses that are in progress, I would recommend that you add that to your resume. And like Dunya said, as you're looking to find internships and positions, right, you can work on your certification. The other part of it is that your resume has to speak project management language. You can't have, for example, a retail customer service resume and then just continue to apply that to project coordinator positions in the hopes that you're going to get it. They'll ignore your resume. And the only way that you can create a project management resume is if you understood the lingo, is if you understood the process. And I bet you anything that for most people, they have the experience, they don't know how to write it inside of their resumes. So everything sort of happens in parallel. Yes, there are steps, yet there's certain things that happen simultaneously, and you just want to be sure that, so the short answer is work on your PMP while you're finding a job with an experience.
Can I add a little bit there really quick?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so completely different scenario and a different stage in her life, but my sister is graduating college and she's applying for internships and entry-level positions. So it's not completely relatable for everybody, but the piece that is relatable is how do you have the information on the resume for them to even consider you for that job you're trying to apply to. And I think when it comes to project management, she has a retail position, she's in college. And what I tried to help her do is understand what she did at work outside of those day-to-day, typical retail things. Like she helped improve some of their KPIs and certain metrics and things that they had. She had, created training material and help train new hires. She had to figure out areas that could be improved and explain that to management and then train her coworkers on what that process was. So it was just talking about it differently and looking at it from a different lens that I think folks that could benefit from.
Yes, I love that. Plug in a different perspective. And sometimes the only person that can do that is someone who has worked in the field. So maybe even identify a person who's in the field willing to spend some time with you so they can sort of align what you're doing to project management, to IT project management. I don't see any other questions. Anyone else with questions, unless I'm not seeing your hand being raised? Do you guys like this information so far? Is this helpful? Tell me in the chat. Was this helpful? Did it get you the clarity that you needed? I would love to hear that. Good. All right, we've got another question. Dunya, what are your thoughts about the Scrum Master certification?
I think it's a really good certification to get if you're thinking about getting your PMP and you're not sure, because I feel like it is a shorter course and it's I have not gotten my Scrum Master, but I am familiar with what it is and what they would potentially be asking about. And if I hadn't gotten my PMP yet, or if I was thinking about whether I should, I would get my Scrum Master. What do you think?
Yeah, so here's the thing. The Scrum Master is an easy certification to get. It's a weekend class, it's open book, 50 questions. Classes price ranges from $499 to possibly $600. But here's the thing. The Scrum Master certification, the value is no longer what it used to be. I would say maybe about 5 years ago, or maybe even 3 years ago. The role of a Scrum Master is now being morphed into a business analyst, a management analyst, a consultant one sort of role. So the role itself is going away. And the certification certifies you to be somebody in that role of a Scrum Master on a project. So I would say be wise about where you're spending your money. So if you're thinking about Agile, as an approach to project management, my recommendation would be do the product owner class or do the PMI ACP class, because what you're going to get from that is more of a general concept of how do I work on an IT project without specifying it to a role, because a Scrum Master role, I would have to say, you don't see a lot of them anymore. And if you do see it, it's super, super saturated, because there was a time where everyone was becoming a Scrum Master and it was paying really well. It was paying in the 120s to 130s. So I recommend the product owner certification versus the Scrum Master. Neha has another great question. She says, can we still apply for internships if we're pivoting our career and not studying, really? If yes, how? I can answer this question. So I think that generally internships are reserved for those who are recent college graduates or in college. So and I think you are, and I know you're finishing up your master's. So in that instance, go ahead and apply and see what happens. If you get the opportunity, it's great, but also know that internships either don't pay at all. If they do pay, then it's like $15 to $18 an hour. Great questions. Keep them coming. I'll wait another few minutes to take any other questions. If you are thinking, I'm going to switch the slide, but you can ask questions, continue to ask me questions. But if you are thinking about training classes, we definitely provide them here at 3T Career Institute. We are a career development school. So I don't look at a certification as, oh, I'm going to get a certification and then be able to get a job. It is, what is everything else that you need to know? What are the technology tools? What is the confidence that you have to build around that? What about interviewing skills? What about being able to answer interview questions, technical or not technical? So two things I'm going to recommend. If this is the career path that you're looking at and need to talk to me about your path, then schedule a time. There's my scheduling link, so that I can talk to you about developing a career where you are successful, you're confident, and you're earning at your potential, which is very important. And the classes you're seeing on here, I'm enrolling for all of them. I'm also helping people create their IT resumes and cover letters. If you're interested in that, let me know. If you want me to help you with creating a roadmap and just I think I'm doing like 2 sessions of that, and just helping you sort of align yourself to a career. I can help you with that. We are enrolling in the product owner certification, PMI, PMP, and the ACP class. If you're sort of like entering in the world of IT, I recommend the ACP class. So if you're interested in any of these, you can go ahead and text me and I'll send you the enrollment link. And I think we have a few more questions. So Deidre says, I'm going to go for product owner cert since I do have a CSM. Yes, go for it. JLM says, if I have done extensive program management outside of IT without the PMP cert, what would be best approach to a pivot? JLM, do you mind going off of mute so I can ask you a few more questions so I can help you? If you have the ability.
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much for all the information you have shared. This is very helpful.
Good.
So I have a background in public health, and I've managed multinational programs. But I'm tempted about IT, looking at other sectors, and I'm just curious. I don't have a PMP. But I'm curious what could be the best way forward with that kind of experience. It's more than 10 years.
More than 10 years of experience in program management within the healthcare sector, but you worked on operational projects, so you didn't do any IT projects, I'm hearing?
No IT projects, more planning, making resources available for IT, but not actual involvement in the implementation.
Got it. Dunya, what are your thoughts? You go first and then I can share.
I wonder if some of the projects you have worked on could be considered IT projects based on very short on what you had mentioned. So I think your best approach to pivot, I think you could definitely apply those hours of experience to those hours on the PMP cert, for sure. And I'll let MJ answer the rest.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Dunya. Here's JLM, you want to think about it in this way, right? We are not getting younger, right? We get older, which means our energy level is, as we get older, decreases. What we have to think about as career professionals is, how do I earn the most I can in the times that I have the most energy? Because I know when I get older, I need a position where I'm doing strategic thinking and I'm sort of thinking about my next steps of getting out of this professional world. One, you need to think about that. So when we talk about pivoting, you know, you're in program management, more operational, more planning, and you want to go in IT. What does that mean for you? Does that mean that you now have to take a salary cut? Are you okay with that? If we're talking about IT, that means, right, you have to go back and understand the disciplines within IT, software development lifecycle, implementation, the lingo, the sort of the experience. And now you're doing program management. You have this role up here. And you want to start at the basic of IT. What's going to happen is people are not going to pay you based on your age or your experience. They're going to look at you as someone who's entry level. If you're okay with that, then you can follow the steps that we showed you. But if you're not okay with that, the next thing is what Dunya said, is find the commonality between what you're doing and how that aligns to IT. Now, program management exists in the world of IT project management. You resource for individual projects, you plan for them, but at the program level. So it's a matter of looking at your experience and saying, okay, can I do this same thing that I've been doing in this one industry, but find the balance or find the exact same thing in IT? And I can tell you this much. Yes, you can, and you won't need to sacrifice your salary and you won't need to sacrifice your tenure, because if you do it where you start from the beginning of an IT project where you're like an intern, you're sacrificing a lot of money, and that is not a good way to do it at all.
That has been more of my thinking, you know, trying to find a horizontal program manager role, maybe in the IT sector. But I think the struggle is, how do you make the connection? You know, how do you identify what is already in your experience and apply it in a sector like like IT. I know it's paid better. It pays better. That is the motivation. That if I was to do more program management in IT, I'll definitely be earning more than what I'm be earning in public health. So that is mostly the motivation. But the struggle is, how do you do the horizontal comparative analysis of what I already have as an experience and how I could be able to apply that into an IT position.
I recommend you schedule a time with me. And
Okay.
I do these 20-minute quick chats. I can take a look at your resume. I can help guide you a little bit more. And that way you can then get that plan that's specific for you. Because yes, for what you're looking for a bridge, right? And that bridge has to be created. That bridge is something that for most who haven't been in that IT world, don't know how to create that bridge. So you need someone like who is going to take the time to understand what distinguishes you, the skills you bring in, and how that aligns to the world of IT. Create your resume, create your cover, create your entire profile. Because essentially you're going from one niche to the next niche. And for that, if you don't want to sacrifice your salary, you need someone to create the bridge. So go ahead and schedule a time with me. I just put my link there for you, and let's talk about it. So then that way, you know, we at least can hopefully come up with a plan for you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. So we do have our next webinar, and this one I'm really excited about. This is how to use trending project management softwares and tools. I get this question all the time. MJ, I know project management, but I don't know how to use Asana. I don't know how to use Monday.com. I don't know how to use Workday. Oh my God, Dunya works for Workday, right? Isn't that a project management tool?
No, it's a HR and financial management system.
Oh, okay. Totally got that.
But it does. I know what you mean, though. If for some groups and areas, it can be a somewhat translated. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it's like our next webinar, November 2nd, because I am attending the PMI Global Summit in Georgia. So I won't be here 2 weeks from now. So I decided the next one will be November 2nd. And I'll have someone who's actually going to show you how to use some of these trending tools. So hopefully we'll get that out there, the registration link, and you'll be able to join that one as well. Another quick favor, because I am trying to get more people to sort of come to our webinars, is if you want to leave a review. If you like this and it impacted your life, hopefully in a good way, leave us a review. Let me know, let us know what you thought about this webinar. So I'll be quiet now. Dunya, do you have anything else that you want to share? Any final remarks on your end?
Yeah, so honestly, my only final remark is if I can do it, you can do it better. Honestly, I feel like anybody who wants to get into project management, whether it's IT or not, I think you can do it. Everything we do all day, all the things we work on is a project. Once you realize that, you'll see where it translates and how many horizontal switches or pivots that you can make, very similar to the conversation we just had. Or if you're new to it, you can relate it to something you've done in your retail position. You can relate it to your side hustles or your other jobs that you have that you've done and other projects, wedding planning. Everything's a project. You've done it before. You just have to know that you have. But yeah, good luck to everyone. I hope I'm always going to be here as a resource, as well as MJ. I've learned everything I know from MJ around project management. A lot of what I know is kudos to her. But please feel free to reach out to me if you guys have any questions as well.
Thank you, Dunya. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. I am so proud of you. You've accomplished so much in this very short period of time, and all of it has to do with your willingness to succeed and your willingness to not accept less than what you deserve. So I want all of you to take a moment and really, really be proud of yourself, and also increase your standards for yourself, right? You want to say to yourself, I don't want to earn less than whatever that amount is. That for you, the next position is a senior position. If you don't increase your own standards, guess what? No one else will. And they'll always treat you as someone who doesn't know anything. So don't act like that. You're knowledgeable. You know what you're doing. Increase your own standards so everyone else will, and go out there and follow these steps. And I know that you'll be successful. And hopefully I'll see all of you in our next webinar. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. And leave us a review if you like this webinar, and I'll see all of you soon. Take care, guys. Thank you.